In this episode,
Go on then, get it over with.
we scored a goal in your shithole. We scored a goal in your shithole.
The Fantasy Football Show.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to episode 60 of Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
This is season 2 and my name is James.
Episode 60. You know what? There's 2 game weeks to go. And we'll probably do another 3 to 4 episodes. Maybe? What would you think? Let's say 4.
At least.
But last season we did 72 episodes. So do you reckon we've been a bit lazier this season? What's going on?
No, see, the thing with that is we only kind of started season 2 4 days before the start of the season.
Right, okay. So some of the pre-season stuff should have been season 2, really. So we're roughly kind of sort of did the same. Yeah. I was just curious if we were getting lazier in our old age.
Are you fucking joking?
Yeah, no. Not at all. Monday night, all of game week 36 is over. 2 more game weeks to go. Real end of season feel. I remember we felt a bit like this at the back end of last season. It was like, last legs, let's get it done and dusted, because half my mind is already on next season.
Yeah, I think that's understandable. We've said that a few times recently. Your mind can't help but kind of start triggering what's going to happen next year in terms of prices. I'll do some analysis before the price is done, but you start thinking, is Hotter going to be a forward? What price would he be? What will Jimenez be? Will Salah be a forward? I think there's so many that could be reclassified as forward. You can't start help thinking about the mistakes you've made, so whether it's safe.
Also, I think it's not just at a player level, but at a club level. Will Everton carry this form through because they've been so good at the back end of the season? Watford as well, because if you could tell me that Everton are going to start next season like this, then Gylfi and Digne become almost. Again, it depends what price they are, but must-haves. Watford, if Watford carry on in the same way, it depends whether they can keep a hold of Doucouré or what their team's going to be like. There's going to be some interesting options, because I think looking at Everton, Leicester, Watford, Wolves, bits and pieces of West Ham, they're kind of thrown up options, but a bit late in the season where you're like, well, a lot of these teams don't have doubles. Watford and Wolves had the distraction of the FA Cup, so they weren't real options. Like, we weren't diving into these teams yet. They've been pulling out results recently.
Yeah, but then you take like Delafeu, Gray, Hotter, Jimenez, even the 2 Wolves fullbacks. You've had decent returns of them recently.
Yeah,
as well,
but
right?
people weren't steaming into them, mainly because of the doubles and what have you. Yeah. So it's interesting. Anyways, it's kind of like the time of the season where I'm thinking, I really am thinking about my next season's team as much as I am about this season's. I've only got 3 transfers to make. But, I mean, it was a busy weekend for more reasons than one. I felt like, obviously, for the listeners that are regular, you'll know that I ran the flipping marathon yesterday. If you're watching on YouTube, you see I got my medal here. Happy days.
Can I tell you right now, and I've told you this already today, you don't even look like you've done it. I would need a fucking Zimmer frame to get round right now.
My wife said I was getting round. She goes, every time I saw you, you were smiling. I was like, just happy with the enjoyment of the whole event, man. It was a really good day out. But I feel like this weekend was where FPL was actually not even that big a deal in my life. Like, started out with the Planet FPL derby winning at your place, which we'll talk about. I had the marathon yesterday, and it was tailed off on the other end with Game of Thrones episode 3, which I'm not going to drop any spoilers because there's going to be listeners that haven't watched it yet, but it was epic. And in amongst that was a little bit of FPL where I hadn't made any transfers and I didn't have any Liverpool attacking assets. So I was like, I can drop down to 4th on my list of important things this weekend. Top, without a doubt, is... I don't know, actually. I don't know whether it's Spurs or Game of Thrones.
The
marathon's irrelevant almost at that stage. But we did, with the FPL community, manage to raise $3,000. We just topped $3,000 today.
Between the listeners
and other sponsors. The listeners alone was just over $2,000.
Fair game.
Tell me about it. So really interesting, like busy weekend where FPL was not that important. And I suppose not having any attacking Liverpool assets on Friday night switched me off straight away. But I wasn't panicking Friday night.
We can tell the guy who had the average game week.
Exactly. So tell everyone how you did. Welcome to the 100 Club.
Yes. It's been a 75 game week wait, 102, -4.
Oh, is it
no,
-4?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
-4.
And we're definitely taking that as 100 club. I don't care. When you scroll down, you see your point score and your game week history, it will say 102. You have to move a few columns to see that 4. So I'm taking it as a 100 club, and it could have been so much better as well. I went down, as I said I'd do on the pod, Firmino and Mane late on Thursday night. I'd seen Klopp's comments. I thought there was no reason to have any concerns about them. And then I could see they were both going to jump up in price Thursday night. So I thought, you know what? I might need that extra 0.2 if I wait 24 hours for something later on to buy something. So I made the move. And then Friday afternoon, there was this whirlwind of rumours. And had I waited, I had the money to go Mane and Salah, which would have meant leaving Eriksen out, who didn't return in any case. So there you go, but can't complain hitting 100 odd 40k rise up to 170k.
Triple captainship played on Sadio
Triple
Mane.
captain on Mane. The main reason why I decided I wasn't going to go Mane and Salah was I kind of talked myself out of it because I knew that I wanted triple captain Mane. I was absolutely convinced. And I thought, if I'm going to get Salah in, and then I think I'll probably captain Aguero for the last 2 game weeks as long as he's fit. I couldn't justify the value in it. And moving Firmino in made me feel like I had that kind of comfortable coverage. The spread of my funds felt better, and then I could also make easy moves if I wanted to go to Rashford and move someone up to Sterling, Eriksen up to Sterling. It allowed me that amount of money as well, so that's why I went that way.
Yep. Fair play. I ended up on 69 points, which is bang on the game week average. Could have been much worse having missed out on the Liverpool haul. Because it feels like everyone had one of Mane or Salah. Everyone captained one of the two, and some people triple captained. And there was people that triple captained Salah and had Mane and Robertson. That was 81 points, was
Something
it?
like that, yeah.
80 something between just them. And I walked out of that game with just Robertson's 14 points, which is still very tidy, but just that. I did see the Firmino rumours, and I think it was stubbornness that I didn't want to believe them. I also wanted to roll my transfer. I don't know why.
You saw the rumours and you still bought him?
No, I didn't buy him. I already had him.
Oh, see, yeah.
So I didn't transfer him out. I looked at it and I thought I had James Ward-Prowse coming in off the bench.
We both had JWP as first sub.
Yeah. So I thought, you know what? We talked about it on the show, and you said that you thought JWP was going to return. So I thought, let's just roll it, because I'd still rather have 2 transfers this week, which I do have, and I'm quite looking forward to investigating what I'm going to do with my 2 transfers this week. But 69 could have been better, could have been worse. So it kind of went Friday night disappointed because I didn't have any returns from Liverpool other than Robertson's 14, which is okay, just not good as everyone else. Saturday, thinking, you know what, I've recovered a little bit here because I had returns from James Ward-Prowse, Jota, and Jimenez.
Yeah.
So all 3 of those returned suddenly. I'm thinking, all right, fair play. I didn't get returns from Lloris or Son, but did I give a shit? No, not at all. I was happy to take those blanks. To thinking, all right, with those returns, Jota, Jimenez and Ward-Prowse, if Sterling gets me a return, then I'm not going to be that far behind or there or thereabouts.
You captained him, didn't you?
I did. In the end, he didn't return. But I picked up another 9 points off Laporte, who surely must be people must be thinking about nailed on for next season with his BPS. He's ridiculous.
I think just briefly on that, we kind of touched on it at the start, but defensive prices next year are going to rocket.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I really do. I think Robertson's passed 200, isn't he? I think
it's first defender ever to pass 200 points.
Do it. I think he could be as high as 8 million.
And you'd take it. If you had a striker at 8 million, going to get you 200 points, you'd take it.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee that you're going to get that again. That is a heavy whack to then be, we were kind of ram, wasn't it? In the sort of the first 10 weeks or so this season. You could have it all for sort of 18, couldn't you? You go Robertson at 8, then you're looking at 5 millions, and you ain't getting them from the top clubs because, someone like Lucas Dean's he's either going to be 5.5 or 6 next year.
Do you think he'll be as high as that?
I think defensive prices next year are going to absolutely rocket. Just because if you just look at it from a value perspective, like the defenders this year of fucking the big boys like Robertson, Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, and Laporte's not a million miles away. Like these guys are providing numbers that are bigger way bigger than sort of forwards in that 7 million bracket.
But it's all relative to everything else. So if you're going to raise the price of defenders, you've got to cut the price somewhere else, because otherwise all you're doing is pushing people to lesser, like have to have more budget players across their squads.
But there'll be new players and the other people will develop, you know.
Who'll have to be at a slightly lower value.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where you raise the value on one side, you have to reduce the value on the other. I think there has to be overall a total pot of value that can exist that you choose from. So if the rich are getting richer, for example, the poorer got to get poorer. That's what I feel will happen.
I said at the start of the season, make Salah 14.
Yeah.
Like, make it a real challenge. I think he'll probably be cheaper next year fractionally, but I think he'll be a forward.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting.
There'll be other people that will come out, you know, Wan-Bissaka. All the Shrewdies kind of knew pre-game week 1, 4 million, he was the way to go. You know, next year he's going to be 4.5 or possibly even 5 million.
With
start
who?
Looking elsewhere. Wan-Bissaka.
No, but with who?
No, but I mean, there might be other ones.
Spurs, Man United.
Cole Walker-Peters might emerge next year, for example. It's just a name I'm plucking out there. But other people will emerge.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So what's that left your overall rank?
So I'm up to 170k of a back-to-back 40k rises. So I looked, actually, the year when I finished just outside the top 20k, I think I need 145 or 46 points, I think, to beat that. Now,
doable.
If I could do it, I ain't going to get nowhere near top 20k.
Yeah.
I think it just, I mean, these last 2 game weeks, the average has been massive, and it's compensated for some of that shite with particularly sort of game week 31 and the like.
Yeah. I dropped 70k as I put out on a tweet. If I kept it below 75, I've done all right there. Well, Jota, Jimenez and Ward-Prowse really did help me in saving.
You got lucky, that's all you fell.
Yeah, true. Could have been worse, definitely. There we go. So I don't know if the moral of the story is, if it's that obvious, then just do it. I probably should have done it almost as a defensive move, because I was going to move from Hazard to.
You were warned, pal.
Yeah. I just didn't want to play defensive in the last few weeks. Now I've still got Hazard and he's got Watford at home.
Getting in Liverpool forwards against Huddersfield is not defensive, is it?
No. It was a covering move because I still wanted to keep Hazard for a little longer.
And you had to think as well, yes, it would have been a covering move. On a lot of players, you've missed out not just on the captaincy, but the triple captaincies, right? So
yeah.
There were a lot of triple captaincies bouncing back, particularly on Mane, actually.
And no BPS for him, which was
that's a
painful.
sickener to get the 2 goals and not get the bonus. But it's understandable the way it played out.
Sure. Okay, we're going to do our usual, shall we? Run down the games, Twitter questions, and all of that jazz. I didn't get to watch as much football as you, obviously, over the weekend with the marathon to run and stuff, but I did watch one of the games. What, the marathon?
Yeah.
Should we do that now? Let's get that out of the way. I don't want to talk about it too much. I think it's a bit boring, but go on. Oh, I don't know what to say, really, other than it was... right. I'm starting to feel my age.
Important questions. Did at any point you feel like you needed a shit?
No.
Did you piss yourself?
No.
Did your nipples chafe?
No.
Did you even run the marathon?
Yes,
or did you just have a picture?
Yeah. No.
Tell everyone your time.
It was 5 hours 46,
well
which
done.
Was pretty slow, to be honest with you. However, it didn't. See, this is the strange thing. It didn't feel like 5 hours 46. I've run a marathon in 4 hours 15 before, 11 years ago, admittedly, when I was young. Like I'm closer to 40 than I am anything else now, and I felt my age. Like physically, I didn't feel too bad. I just couldn't get speed going. You know, it's like a fucking high gear on a bike or something. Your legs are moving, but you're not fucking going anywhere. That's how I felt. So, and as you get closer towards the end, the miles just feel further and further apart. But the crowd the usual London crowd was immense, right? It was a good laugh. The first half marathon I got in 2 hours, 2.5 hours. After that, it really slowed down. And then I was starting to get hungry and shit, you know, and you just wanted to eat. And people stand on the side of the marathon offering sweets, like jelly babies and stuff. And it got to like mile 20, 21, people offering sweets. I'm like, give me some fucking fruit or something. Like, I want a banana or like a sandwich or a Snickers bar, not fucking jelly babies. How many jelly babies can a man eat? Couldn't do a pint after the marathon for sure. But that was good. Do you know what? I had headphones and I had my phone with me. So probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock, I thought, let me switch on to 5 Live and have a listen to the Man City game, because I was like, nothing's going to motivate me more than every time Sterling scores, I'm going to get a little boost of pace here.
Is that why you were so fucking slow?
No, mate, it was dire. And I switched on to it was just before 2. It was just before the end of the Leicester game, Leicester beating Arsenal, and that gave me a little bit of a chuckle, seeing Leicester win 3-0. So I did see quite a lot of gooners around the course. I was like, oh, what was the score? I was there cheering.
And you knew?
Yeah, I knew. And then funny thing was like, oh, what was the score? And then people were replying back to me, oh, you lost. I was like, no, I'm not asking for me, mate. I was asking for you. So that was quite good fun. Atmosphere was great. I've already entered the ballot today for next year, so I'll be running again next year.
Nutter.
I want to get that time. I want to train more. Truth is, I had 100 days, right, from when I got my place to the marathon. And I was doing the maths. I did 8 long runs, of which only 4 were more than like 12 miles. One was 17 miles, one was 15 miles, and a couple of 12, 13 milers. I didn't really do the mileage in my legs.
How long should you train for that?
Maybe 6 months. For an amateur, 6-7 months. I think so. It's just getting the mileage in. But I was trying to do the maths, James, right? You're good at numbers. So if an average long run takes 2 to 3 hours, let's call it 2 hours, and I'd have done an extra 5 runs, how many hours is that?
Well, it's 10 to 15, right?
10 to 15 extra hours. But it only took me an extra hour and a half on the day, longer than it would have. So would I rather train for an extra 10 to 15 hours, or would I rather just be an hour and a half slower on the day? I'll fucking take an hour and a half slower on the day, mate, and get my 10 hours.
You'll be determined to beat that.
Oh, I had a goal in life to run a sub-4 marathon before I'm 40. Still on the table if I do more running. But
do you think you can honestly knock 1 hour? What was it? 1 hour 45 off?
Yeah.
You can knock that off.
Yeah, it take hard work, like a dedication, hard work, joining a running club, changing the way I'm running the lot. But I think it's doable.
He's sitting here for an hour and a half. Is that conducive to marathon?
No, it doesn't help me at all.
No.
And the stress and pain the podcast's never under threat, mate. No way. We're having too much fun. This is starting to get real good fun, especially with I'd say the increasing engagement with the community. I'm getting a bit better on the old Twitter and all the rest of it. It's been super fun.
Good.
So, yeah, marathon was good.
Everybody in the community
Nothing
has been
changed.
so good with you, mate.
Oh, it blows you away.
Yeah, no, seriously.
What have I done to deserve this? And the hospice are just confused because as much as we've raised $3,000, it's like now 141 different people have donated. And I don't even know 141 people. I'm trying to think, I don't have 141 friends and family. Well, who are all these people? But it's amazing, super. So there we go.
Do you want to do any public announcements?
We'll do them after the
games.
Games
first.
Let's do the games first, because that was probably one of my biggest highlights of the weekend, which we're going to get to. Yeah, Talk to me about. I didn't get to watch Liverpool Huddersfield. I was getting marathon prep and stuff done. I had it on the computer, and then obviously after they scored after 1 minute, I was like, okay, one of two things are going to happen here: floodgates are going to open, or they'll just take their foot off the gas and they got 1-0 on Barcelona. Obviously, it was both. They won 5-0. They were chilling and they still won 5-0.
It was a little bit of both. Huddersfield did okay for about a 10-15 minute spell in the first half, as they always seem to do, but without threatening or anything. When that first goal went in, I thought of you straight away. It was 20-odd seconds, wasn't it, the first goal? Yeah. I thought of you and I thought, fucking hell. And for those who were...
I looked at it and thought, Keita, at least it's all the outsiders that are going to score. None of the players that have been picked.
Salah assist, right? So it was a real swinging of emotion night for those who'd obviously kind of half the people were on Mane, half on Salah. Obviously, Salah got the assist. Then there was the Mane goal. And obviously, because I triple captained him, I didn't even realise for about 5 minutes it was Robertson's assist who I also owned.
Bonus.
It dawned on me. I was like, cross on the left. It must have been Robbo, right? Of course it was Robbo. And then Salah was basically right on half time to make it 3, and you think, these fucking jammy Salah owners, here they go again. Yeah. Then Mane 4-0, great. I'm in here. I'm on for top bonus with Mane, and then Robertson again assist for Salah, and the two of them were basically. I kind of threatened that this might happen. I mentioned last week about not just to fight for top goal scorer for the season, potentially them two, but during the game.
Yeah.
Because after 5-0 and they were both on the hat trick, do you think either of them two pricks were passing to each other? Absolutely no chance. Salah was shooting from everywhere.
Yeah.
Mane missed a glorious chance with a header that hit the post. I think potentially hurt his BPS as well because it was classified as a big chance missed. But the two of them, in hindsight, I absolutely should have gone for Salah with Mane. It's exactly what I spoke about the last couple of weeks about knowing a fixture like this is and then taking a hit and just getting these guys in.
Yeah.
I was influenced, like I said, that I thought Mane would outscore Salah on the day. It was incorrect. And I had both. I think I still would have put the TC on Mane.
Interesting.
I honestly would have.
I think there's no. I don't think over the course of the season now, I don't know what the points difference is between them, but Salah definitely hasn't justified his price difference on Mane. The stupid thing is I've owned Mane through the middle patch of the season when he was crap. I should have owned him either at the beginning or the end.
You have been.
That does hurt. I'm gonna do a bit of maths. I'm gonna work out how many points Mane scored this season, and actually of his points, how many I've owned him for. And I reckon it's going to be less than 20 or 30%. But I'll have owned him for half the game weeks of the season for sure. It's crazy.
It's 35 points between them.
It's not a lot at all, really, is it? Obviously, their price is going to be much closer next season, I would say.
Mane will certainly go up. I think Mane is an interesting one in terms of if he's reclassified or not. I really do think Salah will be reclassified. I was just looking at how they compare. So in terms of value for season, Mane does come out on top from Salah, but then you can't argue that Salah's going to finish as top point scorer. Had a price rise overnight as well, back up to 13.3. Just obviously on what happens next, the two fixtures are not easy, I don't think. So Newcastle away Saturday night and then they finish with Wolves at home. I know we had an article last week from our Geordie FPL footballer and he thinks they've got a shot at taking points off them on Saturday. And I think they might slip up.
Oh, I can't see it myself. I think they've won how many games on the bounce, and so have City. Their eyes are on the prize. I think they're going to win all their games rest of the season. The only thing for Liverpool is obviously Champions League's in the way now, whereas City don't have that headache. So depending on what happens versus Barca, yeah, possibly. I think Champions League could impact it.
But help playing Newcastle in, they've got the 3 games in. It's 6 nights, isn't it?
Yeah.
Newcastle away in the middle. And you've seen that with the motivation for us at the weekend, right? Not taking anything away from you. But your minds are... For Liverpool, it's different because obviously their minds are fully focused on the league. But in terms of your mentality, you can't help but think, got to play Barcelona again in 3 days. Like you just mentally, you can't get away from that.
Nah.
And that's going to be really difficult, I think, for Liverpool to overcome. I'm not saying... I don't think they'll win. I'm saying I think they might slip up. Just an interesting thing I wanted to just throw into the conversation. Between them, Mane and Salah have had, at the time recording, 56,000 buys in between them this week.
Wow.
Where the fuck were you last week? You wouldn't buy them now, would you?
No, it's true. It's a fair point. Oh, they've just hauled after playing Huddersfield. Let's have them now. Interesting indeed.
I love this game.
Let's talk about the next game. So the early kickoff, Spurs 0, West Ham 1. You were there.
Yeah.
I was watching on telly, apart from the goal, which I didn't see.
Why?
I went to my kitchen to get a glass of water, and my brother started just screaming. And he was like, I just ran back straight away. So I actually missed the goal live, but apart from that, I watched the game. But you were there.
Celebration, interesting.
It's a weird one. You saw his interview afterwards. He's like, it's a dance move I've been doing in the clubs or something. I was like, what clubs are you going to, mate?
Walking up to a girl in a club and doing that.
Because he's a big old guy.
Oh, yeah,
he's scary as fuck. I would be shitting myself if I saw that. Fucking keep a distance.
So on, you give us your side of it first,
well,
because you won it. Well done.
We did. I was nervous going into the game because you are rivals, and I knew I'd have to put up with grief on the show. So I was quite nervous when I saw the lineup. Obviously, Danny Rose and Ben Davies play on the same side. So I was mildly confused. Like when I saw the team sheet, I was like, are you 3 at the back or 4 at the back? I realised then that Foyt was playing right back. So you were 4 at the back. And then this first half was end-to-end-ish. It was fairly even. You were the better side, I would say. It was clear you were attacking Fredericks, like the ball was going out to Son on the left much more.
He did all right, actually.
Well, Fredericks, he's got pace and he's only 20 or 21. He's a young kid. He will be good. But I think you would have been better off attacking Masuaku because he's garbage in defence, honestly. The first half, you were much better. You had decent chances, although we had chances as well. But second half, every time we broke, I thought, shit, we should be scoring here. And I didn't understand what was going on there. I thought Juan Foyt played okay, but we were obviously targeting him with Anderson. And I just look at Juan Foyt and I'm like, surely, mate, you got to go and you got to go to school and do your GCSEs or something because he looks fucking 12 years old.
I don't know why Kyle Walker-Peters didn't play.
Yeah.
I mean, Foyt did quite well in that position at the Etihad. Remember, it was a back 5. I mean, if he's going to play that, he had that real late burst of a run to set up Janssen right at the end. Yeah. But other than that, he never got forward at all from fullback.
No. It's not his mindset, is he? He's more centre-backy.
Yes. Yeah, no, of course. I mean, he's a ball-playing centre-half and he'll improve. And I assume Alderweireld will go in the summer. And I don't think there's any guarantee that Spurs will buy and replace with Sanchez and him there as well. I think your analysis of the first half is spot on. I felt okay at half-time. I felt like we'd played all right.
Yeah, Son had got in behind a little bit.
Yeah,
Moura a little bit.
But second half, by the end, you well deserved to win. I can't take that away.
I thought Anderson played well, and I think Arnie second half. I mean, they showed it on the stats and on Sky afterwards. He had 7 touches in the first half. He had like more than 20 in the second half. He just got into the game all of a sudden. He felt much more putting himself about a little bit more, and at the end of it, our players were like flat out. Like at the end of the game, they were dead. And so they should have. They put a shift in at the end.
Let's do the criticism bit of West Ham first. Yeah. It's not a dig, but we did say this would happen, right?
Yeah. And I'll take it.
Why does this happen? And I understand it's your biggest game, but we knew it, right?
Yeah.
That you would turn up for this, and you turned up at Old Trafford's.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks before.
We drew with Liverpool at home.
That's
Arsenal,
your first
Chelsea.
away win since December.
Yeah, we haven't won away this year.
Go figure.
Yeah.
There were a couple of outstanding West Ham performers who Antonio is a constant threat. I know you've been really critical of him over time.
In the past. More recently, less so.
I liked the second chance he had, not the goal, but when he went to take a touch and he didn't touch it and it smashed him back in the nostril.
Yeah.
There were 2 outstanding West Ham performers, and I'm happy to say it. I thought Martin Noble was excellent.
He was really good.
Although I think we were so poor in the midfield area that we did make him look a bit like fucking Pirlo.
But he did play well. Rice did all right as well.
Yeah, played well. But I thought he was outstanding, Noble and Issa Diop.
Apart from he's fine when he's in our half of the pitch.
So answer me.
He was fucking garbage in your half of the pitch. You see that run where he went through.
Yeah, but it was a great run, wasn't it?
Stay on our side of the pitch.
Answer me what I asked you a couple of weeks ago. Why was Ogbonna playing?
I have no idea.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know.
This fella's a talent.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's no doubt about it. If you look at our results over the season, more clean sheets and less goals conceded with Balbuena and Diop as the 2 centre-halves. Like, people talk to you about what's the Spurs team and are you in the know and you kind of have a real feel for it. I don't know West Ham well enough. Like, I'm not that in and out with the team to know why he was dropped. He was on the bench in all of those games.
Don't make sense.
No, he's a much better player. Like, so I feel like we'd lose him. He's a defender that someone like Arsenal or one of the other teams need.
Yeah, I think that there are some we'll be looking
at. He's
young
as well, 23.
Leave this year. Balbuena was good. Goalkeeper didn't
standard.
Yeah,
all season
faultless.
He's been that.
His handling's very good. Much better than the keeper that played for Arsenal. He's a good keeper now.
What about Spurs? Tell us about Spurs. We've had enough of West Ham. I'm grateful we won.
Well, over the whole game, we only had one player that played well, which was Ben Davies. And he got murdered on a couple of counter-attacks near the end. But it was the only Spurs player who turned up and played well consistently for the majority of the game. Formation, again, was bizarre, playing sort of rows kind of left of a diamond, basically. Son and Lucas got minimal joy. Son was really off sorts, I thought. Dele Alli was poor. You can't.
Dele
help
Alli
but-
had patches in the second half where he was getting in behind a little bit, but not consistently.
Not really. I think we end the game with fucking Llorente and Janssen again.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck it.
Doesn't fill you with confidence. Though.
Have a word with yourself.
Yeah.
Sissoko is hopefully back for the Champions League game tomorrow, and he's been a massive miss. If you'd have said to me 6 months ago that I'd have been voting for him as our player of the year, I would never would have believed you, and that's what I did yesterday. Because it's fully deserved because of the improvement and he had. And without him, we just don't have any energy. Or him and Winks, without those two, we don't have any energy or drive in midfield. Dyer, Wanyama and that, they're so fucking pedestrian, mate, on the ball. They need one of those two with them to make it a proper partnership. Sissoko's hopefully back. That'll make a difference. I went into the weekend saying we needed 2 wins to be sure of top 4. We lost. Now we only need 2 draws.
Yeah.
Go figure.
We'll talk about this top 4 race is stupid.
If we weren't in the see, the thing is again, it's mentality, right? So I walked out the ground and I was disappointed. It was more fucking lost to them, like, you know, and we potentially opened the door for Arsenal and that again. But the atmosphere in the ground wasn't like it would normally be for Tottenham, West Ham. Tomorrow's so much more important, man. It's a once in a fucking lifetime, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a once in a lifetime. Like if I was in your shoes, I couldn't care less about losing to West Ham.
If you said to me right now, we'll beat Ajax but finish 5th, I'll take that.
To go to the Champions League final.
Yeah, of course. It's a once in a lifetime, isn't it?
It's not going to happen.
What's the point of
again.
fucking fighting to get in the thing every year?
Yeah.
Well, no, there's all right. It's very unlikely, but there is actually a possibility of winning it.
It's like
go and try and do it. That's
like
got to be the priority.
Arsenal, the year that they got to the final, it hasn't happened again since. It felt at that time as well. I didn't feel like Arsenal were going to kick on and then get in, season out. And I don't think you're ready yet to be
but
season in,
the difference
season out.
between us and that Arsenal team was, although they had a very bad league season that year, they were still a very good fucking team with Omri, Perez, etc., Lundberg, etc. Exactly, right?
Yeah, right.
So whereas, you know, they were invincible 2 years before that. Now we're coming up and coming. So, but it's still, you won't get me away from the idea that this will probably never happen again for us, even to get to this stage.
Yeah.
So no, there's an opportunity, and we've got a tie where I think we're outsiders because they're an outstanding side who's beat Madrid and Juventus, but got to go for it.
It's fairly even, in my opinion.
We've got to go for it, and therefore on Spurs and obviously assets.
Yeah, I was very conscious. We're talking about footy without talking about FPL here.
What you do with them is fucking up to you. So I'm sitting here with Loris, Son, and Ericsson.
I've got Loris and Son. I'm going to just do whatever you do. I'm keeping
if
Son because he ain't playing.
If KDB hadn't got injured, I would have sold Ericsson before the game this weekend. He's definitely my one that's going this weekend. I think the team will. I mean, I said last week that obviously had we beaten you, it would have been wrapped up, and so it would have been.
Yeah.
And therefore, we could have put any team out against Bournemouth. I still think it will be. Depends on what happens tomorrow night. I mean, we have got the Tuesday, Wednesday space instead of 4 days between the games. I have no idea what the team will be against Bournemouth. I'm going to be an Ericsson. I have got Son, but my advice to Son owners, if that's all you got, is actually no, keep it.
Yeah, I'm keeping Son because obviously he's not playing midweek, so he'll play next week and he'll be fresh. I'm keeping Lloris. He's my keeper for the rest of the season. Job done. Let's talk about Fulham, Cardiff. Oh, sorry, Palace, Everton first, 0-0. I'm jumping ahead.
You ain't seen no football, have you?
No, I
so
haven't
this is literally all on me, isn't it, basically?
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of highlights. I tried to catch up as much as I could, but I didn't see Palace, Everton at all. And I'm not considering any Palace or Everton for the rest of the season. So
Everton, Burnley this weekend at home, obviously finish at Spurs team who could well be flagging and have nothing to play for last game. Lots looking at Palace, because obviously it's Cardiff away and then finish with Bournemouth at home. There's a few getting sort of Zaha mentions and that. I saw a few went back in for Milivojevic at the weekend. Can consider. I don't think it's for me. I think they probably will relegate Cardiff on the weekend. It's the 5:30 game, but not too much in my thoughts. I'd probably more inclined actually to go back in for Everton.
Gylfi.
I'm not going to. I can't see me going down that route. Everton should have won the game. Played pretty well. Another clean sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think suddenly from being in a position where before they played Liverpool, we went, forget them, season's over, was both our opinions.
Yeah.
Now looking at them going into next year and going, right, Pickford, Dean, King, price dependent.
Yeah, Gylfi.
Will they add a right back possibly?
Calvert-Lewin as your budget.
Calvert-Lewin, Siggy, Richarlison. Will Bernard have a better second season? He strikes me as someone who will never be a good FPL asset, Bernard, but he's a good little footballer. And they'll be right at the front of people's thoughts, depending on what that starting fixture list is for them next season. And I wouldn't, if you want to go in for sort of Sigurdsson and that this weekend, I wouldn't advise against it.
No. All right, let's talk about Fulham 1, Cardiff 0. Cardiff done and dusted, really, but they're mathematically not relegated until the weekend.
They never tried to hurt Fulham till they went behind.
No, that's what Neil Warnock said in his post-match. He was like, well, it wasn't actually Neil Warnock. It was one of the other pundits was saying that they came alive and they were fighting after 60, 70 minutes, but they should have been playing earlier.
Both Cardiff and Brighton, if they'd started the game the way they'd finished the game, would have won this weekend.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. What a goal from Babel.
I haven't seen it. Any good?
Oh, it's a worldie.
Why are these guys winning week in, week out at the moment?
So it's 3 wins back-to-back for Fulham. Clean sheets in all of them. Go to Wolves this weekend.
Yeah, and finish with Newcastle at home.
Look, I think if you were going to go in for Babel and that, and I think him or Mitrovic would be the only ones you would target in spite of those recent clean sheets. It was last week, really.
Yeah.
I feel. So, no, if you've got Wolves assets for this weekend, I still think that's absolutely fine. I think Jimenez Hotter would probably even outside captaincy choices for this weekend because that won't last them Fulham clean sheets. But
no.
Fair game to them. Who knows if Parker had got in there earlier and tightened them up sort of January, February time, they might have had half a shot because there's more chance, in my opinion, there's more chance of Fulham catching Cardiff than there is of Cardiff staying up.
No,
I just can't see Cardiff winning those 2 games. I don't know how many points Fulham are behind Cardiff.
No,
might be 7, they might still catch them.
No, there were a lot. It was, I think it was 24 to 33 or something. It's like there's more points than there is games left.
It was a massive opportunity missed for Cardiff, in my opinion. They'll obviously have to win the 2 games now to stay up because of the inferior goal difference to Brighton.
Yeah, is it 24 to 33 or something?
No, Fulham are 5 points behind Cardiff.
5 points, so they could.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yes, I would be surprised if Fulham went and won another 2 games. I just can't see Cardiff catching that Brighton now.
Nah. What did we say about Southampton Bournemouth? There's always a tight affair.
Always low scoring.
Always a low scoring tight affair. 1-0, 1-1, 1-0, something like that.
Yeah, well, that threw that out, didn't it?
What an interesting game. I mean, Callum Wilson is another one that if he stays at Bournemouth next season, first name on the team sheet, surely not?
I think.
Why is he not on the bloody team sheet now?
Yeah, possibly. I think oversight of doubles, etc., but then, completely blanked last week at home to Fulham. That's how you feel with Bournemouth, the unpredictability, right?
I might be buying Callum Wilson this week. I've got flags on Firmino and Rashford. One of them may go to Callum Wilson and give me a bit of money to upgrade the other. There we go.
Yeah, there's worse ideas.
Rashford and Firmino out for Wilson and Jamie Vardy.
If Rashford's fit, you're not going to sell Rashford now. If he's
not before Huddersfield, but I don't know if he's going to be.
If he's fit, you've got to hold on to him. Wilson is at the moment, he's in a kind of a line of thought of player, sort of like with Sigurdsson and that, where people are looking at him, looking at the values provided this year, and are already in their mind thinking, set and forget next year.
Next year, yeah. I really feel like most of my squad next year set and forget.
And we're all sitting there going, what price is Jimenez going to be next year? 7.5, 8? Well, I don't think Callum Wilson's going to be far behind, and I think that will change.
That'd be 8.
If Callum, I don't think 8.
I think 8.
You got to consider the potential of Wolves as well.
Okay.
Like they could push the top 6, right?
So could Bournemouth.
Nah, it's not happening. They're a very good side on their day. Consistency a major issue. They haven't got the status of club to go and push for top 6, mate. We've seen them have spells where they've been in and around it. It's not going to last over 38 games. So, if Wilson comes in at 7.5, do you really feel like you want to go down that route next year? I mean, that would put me off. 7.5.
How many goals has he scored this season? He scored enough to justify it.
Fucking injury prone.
Yeah, true. I do like the idea. The more I'm thinking about strategy, it's like set and forget. If I could have 10 to 11 of my players that I write down as I set and forget. Unless they're injured, I'm not subbing these guys out, and literally do that next season. Only rotate
like
4 or
Mane?
5. Sadio Mane, yeah, he'd be one of them. If I was going to buy Sadio Mane, I'm buying him for a reason. He's been consistent over the last 3 seasons now. Patchy throughout the season, but over the course of the season, he's been consistent. And this is where we kind of sometimes struggle. This is why that flipping Manchard's only bloody 40, 50 points behind me over a season. It's only 2 points a game week.
He's been sitting with Callum Wilson every week.
Well, he's been sitting with the same team every week.
Well, yeah.
So, and he set the team at the start of the season based on stupid reasons. Right, but we'll learn about them at the live show. Let's talk about Southampton. So James Ward-Prowse comes in and returns. Thank you very much.
Redmond assist. Yoshida missed out just with illness. If you've been on him like I have.
Valerie assist. I had him on my bench.
Oh, it was only 4 points though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I win some, lose some.
Yeah, but for a budget 4 million player to get a return is always good.
It struck me. I was thinking about them Saturday night, and I actually didn't catch up on the highlights till after the Sunday games yesterday. But I did imagine, and from what I'd heard, that it would have been very high intensity again, and they are, and they're having some fun at the moment. If you think about what was in there before Hasenhüttl with like Pellegrino, Puel, Mark Hughes, it was all very fucking laboured, wasn't it? This is almost back to where they looked like they were starting to go under Pochettino.
Yeah,
and actually, if they hold on to players, and I see no reason why they won't, and they add the type of players that he wants to fit into his system, they can push for top half next year. I think good side.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Again, I'm going to be.
I think we could tell. We could tell in the opening month or so that the intensity with them had really picked up, and they weren't going to go down. There was just too much about them. They're tiring late in games. That will improve because the intensity has gone up in them so much.
I also think Southampton next season will be priced a little fairer than maybe if the Wolves assets all like those guys are going up a little more. I think Southampton will still be a bit under the radar. Your James Ward-Prowse will still be 5, 5.5 or something. I
agree.
Like
I think Redmond, Ward-Prowse and that they'll still be sort of 5.5ish. Redmond maybe 6. But yeah, I agree actually. I think there'll be a strong look early next season because I don't think there will be massive price hikes in their players. The sort of Yoshidas, Bednarek's, Valerie's are only going to be 4.5.
No,
so
true.
They might. I mean, clean sheet wise, they're not keeping many, but they finish obviously with yourselves away this weekend, and Huddersfield at home. Yeah,
Valerie, if he starts again cheap, might be the budget guy to consider.
Yeah, I still think like Redmond is the one to look at in there, and we should mention Shane Long. Scored more goals in the last 2 or 3 weeks than he scored in the last 2 or 3 years. 4 points.
Remind me the youngster who played up front on the right hand side again last game week, not this week, the week before.
Josh Sims.
Josh Sims, if he's a breakthrough next season,
he's one definitely to watch next season.
I think there will be 1 or 2 youngsters that will break through next season, and Sims is one that I think he looked good. He looked really good talent for a youngster. So, yeah, we need to stop talking about next season and start thinking about this season. Watford 1, Wolves 2.
There's only so many teams you're going to target for the remainder of this season.
Yeah,
Watford are not one of them with Chelsea away this weekend, but Wolves at home to Fulham might be.
Yeah, I've already got 3. Can't get any more. I've got Johnny, Jimenez and Jota.
I've got Jimenez and Bolly, and I might even just add Jota this week and then take him back out in 38, possibly when obviously they finish at Liverpool. He's playing so well, Jota, from what I saw of the game. Like he looks. Bradley Parker, our Wolves correspondent, has always maintained he's a really good sort of dribbler and he's direct and he's running. The first few months, we never saw it. Like the amount of direct running he was doing at Watford and against Arsenal the previous midweek, he really is looking at a proper player now. He's another one I think will still be quite well priced next year. I think he's only 5 goals behind Jimenez now.
Jota has 9 goals for the season. Jimmy's up to 14, yeah.
There you go.
Having said that, he did score a hat-trick in 1 game, Jota. So,
and he'll definitely be a forward next year.
That kind of skews the statistics when you have a haul in 1 game.
Yeah, you can go into them this weekend. I think they'll want to finish strong at home, and it's also worth mentioning they've got a buffer now in 7th.
Yeah.
Beat Fulham at the weekend before they go to Liverpool, and it's done. 7th will be theirs, and then obviously if City beat Watford, they will be in Europe next season,
which makes them less attractive.
Yeah, potentially, but I think they'll. This is where I've spoken the last couple of weeks about the stretching of their squad. They're going to need to add They know that. I think we know they've got money. It'll be if they can add the quality to go with it. Because the guys on the fringes this season, the sort of Cavalleros, Traores, Helder Costas, have not done the business when they've needed to be dipped in, really.
No.
So, if Jimenez and Hotter suddenly got injured, you wouldn't fancy them to beat Fulham at the weekend.
No.
But they are.
No.
So,
Brighton 1, Newcastle 1. I mean, it's funny with these guys, especially like Perez, for example. He's on such a roll, but I wouldn't consider him. I mean, he came off injured.
Well, he picked up a knock as
Exactly.
well. Although he should be okay for the weekend.
Yeah, but
They've got Liverpool. You're not going in, are you?
Despite the run the thing I feel with like Newcastle is, despite them being on a great run of home wins, especially, this doesn't get me excited enough to want to buy any of their assets. There's no one there that I think, let me have you, buy you. Perez, I can't trust him enough to be week in, week out, even though he has been.
Almiron's injury is a blow because Atsu doesn't bring him the same amount of speed,
Right.
and directness. Rondon's goals have dried off a bit, but Perez has kind of picked up the mantle on that.
Yeah.
I saw quite a lot of people were gambling on Newcastle defenders this weekend, going to Brighton. Saw quite a few teams had sort of Lascelles in who didn't play, and a few others. And
Shaw maybe was popular.
Yeah, I can understand why that gamble happened. Brighton and Newcastle managed to achieve a feat that's not happened yet this season. This was the first game that I've watched this season and fell asleep.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That 5:30 game, what were we doing?
And just to clarify...
Were you drinking in the West Spurs game?
No, I did not have a beer on Saturday. I went straight home after the game. Get fucking away from the place and you're not. I went straight home, watched a bit of soccer Saturday, watched the game. I couldn't, after having watched Brighton at Spurs last Tuesday night, I couldn't take it anymore watching them. That first half from them was so pitiful and so painful. It was embarrassing. The fact that
I listened on the radio. I think it was Pat Nevin was on there, and it was Stuart Pearce, and he said that it was the worst first half display he'd seen in Premier League history.
I don't know about history, but this season
it was the worst
it would be
half.
right up there.
I'm sure it's Stuart Pearce on TalkSport said that.
They knew with the last two games, Arsenal and Man City, and the Cardiff, they knew they could put it to bed. Done, finished. I mean, the point's
I thought
probably
they'd go
done
for it.
enough.
I mean, you played Duffy. I played Duffy.
If they'd have gone for it, they would have won. When they started putting crosses in the ball in the second half, Newcastle had some problems. They got men forward. March come on and made a big difference. The lack of intensity in them first half was frightening. What I'd say about them is, I saw someone mentioned they'd spent about 77 million last summer. They largely spent it on shit.
Yeah.
Now they'll need to spend better this season because, put it this way, if they don't pick it up at the start of next season, they'll be relegated by Christmas because they've been that bad recently. The team feels kind of stale. It's only sort of when March, or if Knockout has a good day, that you feel like there's quality and energy in that team. Even Gross doesn't. He's technically a good player, doesn't really bring energy to the team. I think they need a forward. The Cardio and Jahan Prahash, they're not great, mate. Not great. They've got they rotate a lot, and none of them are better than any others. Murray will obviously get the occasional goal, etc. But he's about 75 now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Move on from it. I think they need an overhaul now, Brighton, I would say. I can't get over how bad they were in that first half.
I reckon they're going down next year. I know it's a bit early to say, but
if you had to be pinned to it now,
they would be on my list of they're going down next year from the sides that are there.
And I really like them as a football club.
Oh, their fans were the best away fans at the London Stadium this season that I've seen, in my opinion.
I think they're a progressive thinking football club, and for those who don't know their history that well, I mean, 20 years ago they nearly went out the Football League. They nearly went down to Division 5. So I got a lot of time for them. What Tony Bloom's done there with the stadium, etc. It's a well-run football club. They're at a crossroads really, because a club like that should kind of be happy with where they are. I don't believe any Brighton fan can be happy with what they've seen in the last couple of weeks. They would quite happily finish the season now.
Very difficult. The Sunday games, eh? So starting with Leicester 3, Arsenal 0. I mean,
Tottenham Hotspur, they're laughing at you. Chant from Leicester fans. It's the best chant I've heard all season.
I've heard some funnier ones than that, but
Go on, name one.
I don't know. Let me have a think. I did enjoy on the radio listening to our fans chant at your lot. This is the Emirates. But
we'll get that every week.
We get that every week. So
it's true, you do,
we do. So I'm not worried about it. Not every week, but we do get it quite often.
To be fair, you know, when
Leicester.
we went to, I'll give you a little bit of credit. Because obviously, when I went to both games at your place earlier in the season, we were singing "You Sold Your Soul" for this shithole.
Yeah.
Your lot was singing "We Scored a Goal in Your Shithole."
It's fair play.
At least someone has, right? Arsenal.
I don't know if it's to start with
wet.
Arsenal. I mean, Leicester under Rodgers seem like they're another club that I'm thinking, I wouldn't mind some here. Tielemans, 6 million, 7 attacking returns in his last 8. There's only one game he hasn't returned in, and he's not an attacking midfielder number 10. He's more kind of box to box type player.
He played in a more advanced position on Sunday.
Sure. If he's 6 million next season, he's a set and forget, surely. It fits into that bracket at the moment of a set and forget.
To be honest, he's done so well. There's others are going to be looking, aren't there?
Yeah.
It's not Leicester's player. I don't know if there's an agreement in there to make it permanent or not. But I suspect there'll be clubs like ours and Arsenal who'll be looking at this fella now.
Yeah.
It'll come down to money at the end of the day, won't it? As it always does.
But even Jamie Vardy at 9 million keeps banging in 170 points
Jamie
for the
Vardy's
season
another
now.
one who I think people are feeling similar to how they were feeling this time last year and probably
Set and
this time
forget.
the year before, and going, I just stick with this fella all season. The thing with Vardy is you feel that eventually that age it's got to take a yard off him at some point, right?
Yeah.
But it hasn't at the moment. Right place, right time for both goals at the weekend.
He is a poacher more than anything.
Probably again because of age, probably won't see a price hike next season. I wouldn't have thought. I think it'd probably be the same in spite of his very good runs. It's 7 and 8 under Rodgers or something. I think good. Leicester well deserved to win. To be honest, the red card had a massive impact on the game. Obviously,
Yeah, as it would. But
I don't particularly think either challenges were probably bookings, but you've already got butts. Don't make that challenge on the second one. Is a fucking dickhead. You give the referee an opportunity.
yeah,
And up till that, Leicester had been far superior anyway. At 0-0, the game had just got to a point where Arsenal had restructured at half time, and Leicester just looked like it was starting to get frustrated. And then Tielemans got the goal from Maddison's cross, and they were pretty comfy from there. Arsenal were. I think everyone knows Arsenal were Arsenal. We sat here after they lost to Palace, didn't we, and said, would you be surprised you sat here this time next week and they've lost to Wolves and Leicester? It's not a surprise, is it?
no.
And Emery's comments after the game seemed very Europa League focused. And I can get that.
Yeah, I did. I
Fucking
watched.
hell, that's not acceptable for them to lose those 3 games in a row. I know they're all
Put it
awkward
this way, I mean,
fixtures, but
I watched Arsenal Fan TV, a couple of Arsenal Fan TV videos yesterday evening. Always my guilty pleasure when Arsenal lose, just to get a vibe for it. Troops is always interesting.
I love that you've watched no football, but you watched Arsenal Fan TV.
Yeah, 5 minutes of fun, just a bit of pain. But he's always quite truthful. He's very biased.
You get me?
But he said something interesting. He was like, look at these 3 away games that we just lost. If we'd have won them 9 points, we'd be secure in top 4.
Oh, they'd be done if they'd won the 3 games.
He said, look, realistically, this league is shit based on what Arsenal, Tottenham, Man United and Chelsea have done. He's like, if any one of those you guys could have broken free, just won your games, keep it tidy, you'd be clear.
Even United recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have been clear. He's like, 9 points would be 6 points clear of you guys or whatever, 5 points clear or whatever.
They'd be qualified.
Stupid. So just bonkers that you're dropping points like this. I was just thinking, if someone like Arsenal just lost to Leicester and Wolves and Palace and whatever, surely these are the teams that are 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. They should start considering themselves in those ranks, not in this stupid top 6 that you've
Arsenal?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, that's
they've been beaten by everyone below them.
They are
beat
about
by
20,
everyone below.
They are 20 points clear of all of those.
True. Yeah, I'm just being facetious for
no
reason.
I appreciate the facetious.
It's just it's. I mean, this whole top 4 race. We can talk about it when we get to United, Chelsea, because they're both in it. Is mind-boggling at the moment. 3 out of the 4 have got European distractions. I can understand that, and it's just crazy though.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of it. It's crazy.
I mean, I even tweeted Monday morning about Spurs and saying, I don't know how. Tuesday morning, saying after Chelsea's draw with Burnley and saying, you know, right, we lost at City, can't believe that we've managed to finish the weekend still in third. And I tweeted at the time and said, expect Spurs to drop points over this week because of that, the mentality thing in the site. And I think Arsenal and Chelsea, being this Europa is such a fucking slog, mate. And you get this close and you start thinking, like, because Arsenal and Chelsea, one of them two is going to win that cup.
Yeah.
And you, in my opinion, I think Arsenal and Chelsea will be the final. And you start knowing that obviously if you win that, you go straight in for the champs next year, don't you? So and you start, is this easier? I mean, Chelsea are in a position now, obviously, if they win their two, they're in. But actually, I think if Arsenal win their last two games, I think it will still be enough.
It's very tight, very interesting. Let's talk about Burnley City and then United Chelsea, and then we can do some Twitter questions. I mean, Sergio doing what Sergio does, another set and forget. The only thing with Sergio is his injuries.
You can't set and forget Aguero, unfortunately.
You can't set and forget anyone from City because they get rotated.
He will always miss a couple of weeks.
Yeah, five saves for Heaton. City had their chances.
All second half. I mean, the first half. I mean, City had obviously gone through similar at Old Trafford in the week as well. But at half time, you did think, fucking hell, if there's one side that could hold them out second half, like Burnley's that sort of team.
Yeah, and if at the end of it, Pep was making changes like Aguero off and fucking bringing on Danilo or whatever, defensive players.
But they came
Stones.
out second half absolutely firing. And all right, yeah, it was 2 centimetres or wherever it was, but it all counts. Yeah, I think they had their share of unluck with technology the other week. Yeah, and it's got the right decision again, isn't it? So you can't complain. On Aguero, as I said already, I think he'd be my captain the next
2 games,
2 weeks, and I think, like I said last week, in terms of like get the fucking Liverpool guys in. If you haven't got free City, get a third City guy in.
Now's the time to do it.
Yeah, because I believe you'd have gone free Liverpool. I mean, if you look as well, sort of United would come back onto in a sec, but those in the race in the top 4, you can't trust them at the moment, right?
Nah.
So just go in on City and Liverpool. And
Leicester
like you said,
at home,
they'll probably take care of business. Yeah, it's a difficult fixture.
But they've scrapped through quite a lot of 1-0s and 2-0s this year, even against us, for example. I think I trust City to scrape out a 1-0, which means that they got to just win their last game of the season to win the league away at Brighton. They're going to batter Brighton game of the season. I'd be
very surprised if that's 1-0 on Monday night.
Against Leicester at home.
They've had low-scoring fixtures recently, City. Leicester ain't going to go there and park any bus, I don't think, mate. Rodgers has got too big a fucking ego, mate. He's going to want to go there and blow it up. Yeah, I think he'll go. I think
I couldn't care less what it is. I just think as long as if City win against Leicester, then they got to win the last game of the season away at Brighton to win the league. They're going to batter Brighton away. They're going to go for it 4-0, 5-0. That's the one where you really want your 3 City assets, 100%.
So as I said, I think it's Aguero for me, captain the last 2 games.
Rest of the season.
I'm in, and I think for you on Sterling, that'll be the way you go. I think it's a tough call between.
I'm going to get Aguero. I might get Aguero in. You never know.
Yeah, I'm not against that. Like, generally go for City. I mean, I've even considered. I've got Laporte and Aguero.
Yeah.
Working in Sterling for me probably means taking a hit, which would remove Firmino, which I'm a bit loath to do unless he's definitely out, having just taken a hit to get him in and had fuck all out. I've considered moves like Lloris to Ederson.
Yeah.
Considered, again, I'd need to make sort of a double move, but if I'm going to go, say, Eriksen to Pogba, for example, then I might go like Duffy to Walker or Lloris to Ederson.
Walker's expensive, I don't know.
Yeah, but fuck it, does it matter at this stage? And get the players in you want, right?
Yeah, true. It's just value for money, really. So,
yeah, steam into City. You can't see him dropping now. This has been a slog of a week and they've come through it really, other than a few early moments with Son, the 3 games without the opposition having much of an effort on goal.
No,
it's impressive.
Tell me about United Chelsea, and then we'll get into some Twitter questions.
So, Solskjaer said after the game that the reason United were 6th wasn't down to David De Gea. I'm afraid that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
We said last week about his struggles after the City game, and you've kind of seen this coming. Well, I think everybody's at a point with him now going, this fella's in crisis,
Time to move on. thing with goalkeepers, when they lose it, they sometimes struggle to get it back.
I wonder if it's a little bit in terms of the influence of other keepers who've come into the league, like Ederson, Alisson, and they're different keepers, right? Like, I mean, Ederson is so fast. And in terms of whether it's direct ball or playing short passing, it's unbelievable. Alisson is a little bit more of a piss taker, but his distribution is good. You even look at like Leno.
Yeah.
His distribution's good. Kepa, distribution's good. I wonder if he's tried to adapt his game at all and he's thinking about it too much. I don't know. But like at the moment, he's making the easy not look easy. And it's frightening the life out of a defence that was poor anyway.
I don't know if you saw...
and I'm considering buying him.
I don't know if you saw an article on the BBC website probably about 2 weeks ago comparing the United team with all of the Fergie babes or whatever you want to call them, class of, what was it, 96 or whatever? 92. And the current City team. And it was comparing Schmeichel with David De Gea. No, not David De Gea, Ederson. Sorry, talking about the City keeper. And the differences in the stats. They were like, which was the better team, basically. So Schmeichel had a pass completion rate of 40-something%.
Yeah.
And Ederson is like 75%.
The game's changed.
They were like, Ederson's like just a much better footballer than Schmeichel ever was. But on the flip side, in the season, Schmeichel had made like 300 saves or something, or 200 saves, and Ederson had made like 60 or something.
Yes.
So he had to make way more saves than Ederson ever has to do now. It's really interesting how the game has changed. Their pass completion and the shots, like Ederson's kicking the ball around for fun and not having to make any saves.
Schmeichel,
he's still a great keeper.
Schmeichel is probably as close to the best goalkeeper I've seen live. I would say
hard to beat. Like,
he had that
massive guy.
He had that presence of sometimes you play against him and you think
like two men.
You'd think there's no way we're scoring today. It did feel like that sometimes.
Yeah.
He wouldn't last in the modern game now though. Because his distribution's just not good enough. And yet the same is the reverse, right? So if you'd have said to, because Ederson is not as good a shot stopper as Schmeichel was.
No
right?
way.
In terms of command of area, all that kind of thing. And if you'd have said to Ederson when the pitches were different 25 years ago, get the ball, kick it up in the air, mate.
Yeah.
I don't know how good he would have looked.
Nah.
So it's different eras, right? And that position as a goalkeeper has evolved to a position now where I'm not too sure how much further it can evolve. I'm sure it will again, but it's hard to say. That position has progressed unbelievably in the last, I'd say even 10 years.
Yeah. Definitely. What about the rest of the game? Are you holding any United assets? You're not anymore, are you?
I haven't got any.
I'm still holding Rashford.
It's the big talking point. Just briefly, I want to say Lukaku in the first half was outstanding. Mm-hmm. He was back to being a bouncy castle in the second. Him and Higuain were having their own battle for dinner. And how many times they could be offside between the two of them. The goal killed United. The equalising goal. It honestly killed them because they were in front. They deserved to be in front. Chelsea were sloppy, I thought. And then actually, by the end of the game, I think if Chelsea had not known that a draw in the circumstance was a good result, they'd have won the game. Like I think if it had been the middle of the season, Chelsea would have ended up winning that game by the end.
Yeah.
They had United if they wanted to, I think.
Hazard owners, stick or twist?
Hazard owners, stick or twist. If you've gone through it, I think you stick now. I think on United...
Watford at home this week, right?
Yeah, it's okay. And finish at Leicester. That Hazard, if you've come through this weekend and avoided Liverpool like you have, you ain't moving now, surely.
Yeah.
You're holding him, right?
Yeah.
On United, unfortunately, and I know there's been plenty of jokes in terms of, like, let's get Carl Grant in this weekend and Sean Morrison in the following week and all that kind of thing. You can't avoid the two fixtures. Mm-hmm. Absolutely can't avoid them. So it's Huddersfield away this weekend. We know the trends in terms of high scoring points against Huddersfield. And obviously they finish with Cardiff at home, who could still have a chance of staying up. Actually, if Cardiff did have a chance of staying up, it would probably play into United's hands even more because they'll still need a positive result.
Yeah.
Because if they beat Palace, they'll still need to beat United again, right? Even if it's up, if they can do it. A draw wouldn't be enough on that goal difference. So they have to go to United and you would think go for it. So that would play into their advantage. You look at Pogba's numbers against the shit teams, as we've said, and it's hard to get past it. And I think come Friday, in spite of my desperation to want to go to City, I'll probably end up going Eriksen to Pogba. And I fucking hate it. Because there's nothing form-wise to suggest going for that. I said about considering De Gea. I'm not even joking. Because Huddersfield probably won't score at the weekend. And neither will Cardiff the following week. And you look at it and go, well, as shit as they've been, it's 2 banker clean sheets. Yeah. They've only had 2 clean sheets at Old Trafford all season. You believe that? One of them was against Liverpool.
Wow.
You can't get away from it. So Rashford, if he's fit, it's an obvious move, isn't it? I mean, maybe not this week, but if you've got Jimenez going to Anfield final day, you look at that easy move to Rashford at home to Cardiff. I think so many will end up going for Pogba this weekend. And it's because as well, all the others, Lukaku is just too expensive for me for fucking bouncy castle. And the others in and around it, you'd have Matta's going to play. Where was Lingard again the weekend? Sanchez is a fucking joke.
Nothing interesting there.
Nah.
I'm bored about talking about games. Let's do some Twitter questions.
Yes, before we do...
Do you want to make a public service announcement?
Yeah. So we offer our congratulations to 2 teams, Norwich City and Sheffield United.
Correct.
Welcome back. They've obviously been Premier League sides in the past, and both have been fun at one stage or another. Norwich have always been a club that struck me as a real footballing team, and I think you'll enjoy watching them next year. Their games will be fun because they're still a bit of a car crash defensively. I've watched the last 4 home games, I think. They don't really keep clean sheets, basically.
Nah.
We've got some great attacking talent, and Sheffield United have always been kind of perceived as quite a bruising team, if you think of sort of Neil Warnock's team and going back to the 90s of sort of Harry Bassett and stuff like that. Always been quite direct. This is a football team as well, actually. Chris Wilder's a local, he's a Sheffield United fan who runs the team. And I think there's a perception of those who haven't watched them that they're very direct and long ball and get it into sharp and move off that. Again, I think you'll be quite pleasantly surprised. I think they're a good football side.
Yeah.
And there will be assets to look at, particularly Norwich attacking. And actually, you might find across the board there might be some nice cheapies from Sheffield United. Sheffield United will be particularly difficult to stay up. They'll need to add additions. Norwich will score goals in the Premier League, but they could end up like Fulham. Like, it could be a fucking car crash if they don't strengthen defensively. We've appointed, I say we, me obviously.
Yeah. 2
new correspondents. This is a Planet FPL podcast exclusive. Your 2 first must follows of the 1920 season are FPL_Badger is going to be our Norwich City correspondent. To my recollection, one of the first people that ever followed us.
Oh, fair play.
Goes to Norwich home and away regularly.
Yep.
This is very in the know, follows the club, big fan. And FPL_Blade is going to be our Sheffield United correspondent. This was locked in.
Aptly named.
Yes, this was locked in months ago if they got promoted. He actually now lives in Atlanta, so he's a friend for our Watford correspondent at 6th Goal. But he's a Sheffield lad who moved over there some time ago, and I'd be interested to find his background story. But as you well know, like in America and all that, he's seen every championship game this season. He's not missed a game.
Fair play.
So those are our 2 new guys on board, and you'll be hearing more from them in the coming weeks in the summer.
Nice. The Haven House Marathon Appeal Mini League. So we've got, as regular listeners will know, when I was running the marathon, I was running for Haven House Children's Hospice, a local hospice to us in North London that helps families and children who are terminally ill and life-limiting conditions. We set up a mini league for people that sponsored my marathon appeal, which you can still do. So if you look on Twitter, you'll find the link. It's going to be there. Manager of the week got a tenner. Manager of the season gets 25 quid, only for 4 game weeks. 4 game weeks, let's say. So last week it was Richard Shooter who won the £10. He actually emailed me to say stick it back in the pot. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I'm going to figure out a way of doing something creative with this because I don't think you've already sponsored me.
You know all these pricks are going to say stick it in the pot.
No, we're going to do something more creative.
Such a token gesture. None of them are taking your money.
Well, I hope they do. So two shout outs. One is to Todd Wider.
And he was the manager of the week, was he?
133 points. Ooh. Tidy little score. It's a tough league, yo. It's very competitive.
Yeah, I did have a look through. There's 80 people in it.
Greg Cliff, 131.
Yeah, there were so many hundred scores.
You know, our really good friend Chancer, FPL Chancer,
He's
Dan.
killing it.
So he was so close last week to the tenner. He was third, I think, last week. This week, third again, 129 points.
He's up to, I think, 2 or 3K overall, Dan.
Ooh.
He fucking killed it lately.
Nice. And he's just, I think he's coming to the FPL Live, which we'll talk about in a sec. But
Dan will be there, I know that definitely. And
so he's manager of the league at the moment.
I'm not just saying it because he's a Spurs fan, but he's a Spurs fan. Like, he's one of the best characters in the community,
nice.
Mate.
Yeah. When we saw him with the Always Cheaters, good lad.
Brilliant.
So, whilst you didn't win the tenner this week, Dan, you're still in it for the season because he's now got a 13-point lead over second in the overall.
That's his top of the overall.
Of the overall, yeah. So
how many points he got from the 2 game weeks?
129 this game week, and the previous game week he scored 119. That's back to back.
Fucking hell.
Big scoring.
So it's an average of 124 over 2 game weeks.
Yeah, big scoring over the 2 game weeks.
We ain't
triple
winning
captain
that league,
this
then.
week. No, forget it. Triple captain, bench boost the previous week, triple captain this week, and the triple captain Mo Salah. So tidy, very, very tidy.
Nice job. Just shows, by the way, because we haven't really mentioned it, but people might have realised over the last 2 game weeks and not felt this way after the free hit of 32, but chunky chips did work.
Yeah,
speaking.
Just about. We got there in the end.
I've seen some good chunky chip stories this week.
Nice. Tell everybody about Planet FPL Live.
Why am I doing it?
I don't know, because I thought they'd like to hear your voice instead of mine.
Saturday, May the 18th.
That's the one.
Editor's Tap. We will be doing a live show. Suj thinks it's in Holborn. I'm going to be honest, I looked at the map. I don't
Chancery
think it is.
Lane.
Yeah.
It's only because if you put it in Google, it comes up as Holborn.
The address is Holborn, in fairness. But yeah, I think Chancery Lane might be closer.
Yeah. But from Holborn, it's less than 10-minute walk, 10-minute walk. But
we'll be having some fun, some banter. We're going to be working it's under 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
We're going to be working on what we're doing in terms of the show. We're going to put something on that's us, but the same, but different, and it's going to be very sort of interactive and stuff, I think. And quite a few of the correspondents are coming. We're going to get them involved. We might have some people on Skype potentially. Some good FPL people there, and come down. We'll have a laugh. We'll all watch the FA Cup final together afterwards. It'd just be great to meet people. It's Suj will run through the costs because he knows them better than me.
So we're opening doors at 1 o'clock. The pub's open from earlier. We'll be there from earlier, but doors kind of at 1 o'clock. 2 till 4, we've got a live podcast, Q&A, and all of that other jazz. We'll be taking some Twitter questions, some live audience questions as well.
Fucking doing live ones,
Of
mate.
course we are. We're going to be trying to live stream the event as well, but it's not going to be the same as being
You're
in
trying
person.
to sell tickets,
Of course we
plonker.
are. Forgot about that. And that's going to be followed. So 2 till 4, we're going to do the live show. At 5 o'clock is the FA Cup final, Manchester City versus Watford. Someone's hoovering outside the corridor.
Yeah, I can hear that. And it's probably man-child.
Yeah. Trying to
we'll all
give
stay and have a beer afterwards if anyone
Exactly, we'll be there
wants
till later. Tickets are only a £5. We were trying to do group tickets and all the rest of it. It's just literally, it's a £5. That gets you a free bottle of Budweiser or softie on arrival, or a portion of chips,
Are there
whichever
alternatives
you
to
fancy.
Budweiser?
No, Budweiser, soft drink, or bowl of chips. Pick one of those.
Are they
three.
chunky?
I don't know if they do. Yeah. We'll make them chunky.
£5 for chunky chips? That's fucking expensive.
I know, but
mate.
we've got to sort out the venue and everything else. We're not making any money here, mate. It's just
Are we
to
not?
make sure that we're regulating the maximum capacity that we've got there. We've already had 14 people register. We did do an early bird release to people that pre-registered that we'd announced on the podcast. So it's going to be nice. It's going to be good. The FPL community coming together. Got quite a few ideas on how we're going to run the event. It's going to be awesome.
I will, obviously it's Monday afternoon now. Podcast will go out Monday night. I will, under the podcast tomorrow, tweet link to buy tickets for the live show.
Indeed. But it's going to be awesome, right? It's only 2.5, 3 weeks away.
On a serious, it is going to be a restricted capacity.
Yeah.
We don't really know if we're going to sell out or not.
Nah.
But it could be that in a week's time we're sold out, and if we are, then we are.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Nothing doing. There we go. That's all our public service announcements. Any others that you can think of?
No, I think that's it.
Cool. Let's do some
Oh,
Twitter
I got my
questions.
ticket for Amsterdam.
Oh, happy days. Lucky.
Just as well, because I booked the fucking flights.
Yeah, I'm going to Amsterdam on Friday, and I'm coming back on Monday.
I'm not going till Wednesday.
And you're going on Wednesday and coming back on Thursday.
So guess what we're doing next Tuesday?
So between a week, one of us is in Amsterdam every flipping day.
So what we doing next Tuesday?
Podcast,
Yeah,
mate.
I'd say so, yeah.
Let's get it in. Is there a Monday night game next week?
Yeah, City Leicester.
Oh, perfect. Tuesday's worked out perfectly.
Bang on.
It's like the gods knew.
Man-child, can I take a mic to Amsterdam? No. Fuck you. Let's
Yeah,
do
you
some
can.
Twitter questions.
Why are you asking him? I can get you a mic arranged. Not a problem.
All right,
What do you want to do?
I don't know. I might take a mic. I might do something while I'm out there.
Do it.
Like, talk to myself on the streets of Amsterdam while I'm off my fucking tits.
Twitter questions. Here we go. You ready for these?
Go on then.
Jimmy Mac and Cheese at Claret FPL. He says, is it too late now to go in on Laporte for a Brighton or Southampton defender?
Nah, if you've got, as I said, get it in.
Yeah, you're thinking about Ederson, right?
Well, I've got the port, right? But it's fine.
Yeah. But as in, I mean, a City defensive player.
It's the opposite of FOMO. I don't know what the fucking title of it you'd call it, but you've just missed out on big double game week haul and another 9 at the weekend. Am I chasing points? Actually, do you know what? At this stage with City, just get it done, is my opinion.
Next question's coming in from at Grifters United. Grifters sponsored us on the old
Sheffield United fan as well.
On the old Chip Marathon as well, and really do appreciate it, John. Do you think the Premier League is ready for Chris Wilder?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Guy's a bit.
He's quite outspoken.
Yeah,
He'll get in trouble next year.
But he's not worse than Neil Warnock. I think the thing is, Warnock can be annoying. Wilder's not so annoying.
Well, Warnock's like 70 now, isn't he? He's mellowed a bit, I think. This guy don't give a shit. Like, he was giving it to Leeds yesterday. They were all watching the game in the stadium because I don't know if you've seen that farce of Leeds and Villa yesterday.
Yeah.
With
And then
the walking goal
Leeds
and
let them score.
Complete farce. The Sheffield United players and Wilder were watching the game at Bramall Lane.
Yeah.
And he was sticking it to Leeds. He didn't give a shit, right? He was like, yeah, all these fucking Leeds mugs. Yeah, he didn't care, mate.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all on camera. You can find it easy enough. He's like, I heard all these people talking about Leeds. Yeah, we're here. I'll tell you what, it'll bring some passion to the league. And as I said, don't underestimate them. They'll play some football.
Right, next question.
So the Huddersfield, by the way.
At 35 Who Adam, couple of questions. Ericsson replacements.
It depends what you've got money-wise.
Yeah.
Pogba's
probably the simple choice this week.
It's awful.
And if not, maybe Gylfi.
Awful. Yeah, alternatives.
Maybe Gylfi, maybe Maddison. He's a bit cheap.
You're not going to go for Leicester now with City, Chelsea last two. It's just the same thing you'd have. Yeah, I think if you're holding, I think like if you've got Vardy, it's all right. It's okay. But you're not going to go and buy it when they're away to City. I don't see that. So I guess the alternatives, Bernardo Silva, Sane possibly. If Fernandinho's still out, that's a gamble though, isn't it? You never know if he's going to play or not.
And what about stick or twist with Lucas? That's coming from Ricky Saunders.
Sell.
Yeah.
Sell, yeah.
Okay. Adam also asked if I would run a marathon every game week if it meant West Ham went the season unbeaten. If he'd have said we'd win the league, I would have said yeah.
I reckon you draw. If you went a season unbeaten, you'd draw 38 times and go down.
That's the fucking. That's why I'm like, your question's not is phrased with doubt in it. It's like going the season unbeaten. What does that actually mean? It probably, like, you guys have lost how many games this season?
Christ, we've lost 12, I think.
You've only drawn
Which
one.
people are saying, like, I mean, and it is incredibly uncommon for a team to be third in the league.
And have lost 12 games.
Lost that, but we've also won the same amount of games as when Leicester won the league. So, take your choice on
and
where
you're
you sit
20 odd points behind the top guys. It's mental. It's more than that. So the answer is probably no. If it was that we would win the league, I'd do it a heartbeat. It's only 6 hours a week of jogging. I could do that.
Right.
By the end of it, I'd be fit.
Yeah, maybe. You won't catch me doing it, I'm telling you.
Oh, dear.
I can't. I would die.
FPO _OGS. OGS or OGS?
maybe
Og's FPL.
might stand for a manager who might get sacked in the first 6 weeks of next season.
That's true. Do you guys listen to any other podcasts? Peter Crouch pod is a good laugh.
That's a good question. People keep saying about Crouchy's pod, and I've never really got round to it.
I've listened to quite a lot of snippets because they play him on the radio quite regularly. He's pretty funny.
The only podcast I religiously listen to is The Fighting Cock, which is a fucking brilliant banter account, Spurs podcast that I listen to on the way to Spurs games. Otherwise, to be honest, it's our colleagues like who got the assist, surgery, amigos, cheaters.
Yeah, I've got all of them. I do like Art of the Dive, Marco and Jake, and FML FPL. I've got them all, and I probably listen to 1 or 2 a week, but on rotation. So I won't listen to all of them every week, but I'll listen to 1 a week. Thereabouts.
Quite often, I won't listen to any, as I said, sort of when we was interviewing with Mars and Don and that from the Amigos. If we're doing 2, I won't listen to anybody else till we've done ours. So I would just, if we're doing a Thursday pod on a Friday deadline, I'm not having time. So this week, obviously with us doing Monday and deadline not till Friday, I probably will catch up on some of those guys this week.
Yeah, fair play. FPL OGS also asks, how did you guys meet? But I'm not, it's too long, so I'm just going to say we met on Tinder. Question answered. Next question.
We fucking answered that so many times.
City fan, the Blue City says, should I consider getting rid of Lacazette? And if so, who to replace him? I've got Aguero and Jimenez already. Wilson, Zaha.
The thing is, right, there's such a fucking problem. So take Lacazette. They're at home to Brighton on Sunday.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason he doesn't play in Europe on the Thursday, you're going to be desperate to hold on, and suddenly he becomes genuinely a captaincy option.
Yeah.
So I can't answer that question for you till Friday.
I think this one's coming in from FPL Football Advice, at Football Advice FPL on Twitter. And this is taking the piss a little. Is Alonso essential? Fucking that guy. How long have we waited for that goal?
He's about 6.3 now.
How long have we waited for that goal?
Well, who's been waiting for it? Who's still got him?
No, that's true.
But you haven't, have you?
You still keep one eye on him. It's like
if there's any
the
listeners
ex-girlfriend online
or YouTube viewers who own Marcus Alonso and are listening or watching this, please tweet me. Let me know. I don't believe that. And dead teams don't count.
At FPL Geek Sweden has tweeted Hazard or Pogba for the last 2. It's quite interesting because that's a move that I may have to toss up because going from Hazard to Pogba actually gives me quite a chunk of money.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to buy one, it'd be Pogba now.
Yeah, you think so? And I may get rid of Hazard for Pogba for the last
Chelsea's
2.
last 2, I mean, they're well capable of beating Watford at home and Leicester away, obviously, but actually, they're both conceivably games. As I said, I think if Arsenal win their last 2, they'll still finish top 4. I think that'll be enough. I think Chelsea might slip up in one of them.
Yeah, interesting.
It doesn't subtract from the fact that, of course, you can buy Hazard, but yeah, Pogba, answer.
Todd Wider, who we mentioned, has also sent in a question. So let's
nice.
give him a bit of limelight. And also, I'm massively in love with his Twitter handle.
Which is?
So his surname's Wider, W-A-I-D-A, Wider, yeah? His Twitter handle's Wait a Minute.
Oh.
Wait a minute, 02. Yeah, nice. Good one there. What do you think for those with Pogba? Keep for the fixtures or do something like Pogba to Son and then Sterling to Deulofeu. Feel like his mind is elsewhere, but Son is nailed, right? Son, I'm not moving from away from Son because of the fact that he's not playing Champions League, so he's going to be available.
It's the capability. The capability with Sonny that he could. And do you know what? At the moment, the signs are not there, and we're going to have the same problem Saturday that we've had Saturday just gone in terms of focus, unless we get absolutely fucking battered tomorrow night. But if you've held Pogba, you're not selling now, surely. You can't sell an FPL asset before they're about to play Huddersfield. I don't care who it is.
Yeah. That's interesting because, let me find the question right here. It was Joseph Allegretti who says there's no holes in his lineup besides the keeper, but he can't help but think that he needs a player versus Huddersfield. But who? But do you think that is the case?
If he's got a hole in his lineup, honestly, get De Gea.
Yeah.
As shit as he's been, I don't see how Solskjaer would sell him. And actually, they're playing probably the 2 poorest attacking teams in the league. Could there be a couple of 6s there? Yeah, there might be. And if you got that much of a hole, that will do, wouldn't you?
Yeah, true. Bully FPL. Which Huddersfield defender for a 2-week punt? Just look at those fixtures. Having on a wind up. None of the above.
You pronounce the fella's name.
At Bully FPL.
No, the Huddersfield player. So there's the clue. You got
Hadjigonads.
Hadjigonads. Yeah. Him. No. Christopher Schindler.
And also, Bully wants to know, why did I bring Llorente in? Probably fucking needed a shit and didn't have a toilet handy.
The amount of people coming to me on Friday and going, James, do you think Llorente will start?
Yeah.
I'm going to people. It doesn't fucking matter.
He's still rubbish.
Oh my God, we're third in the league and the Champions League semi-final, and Fernando Llorente might be our last hope.
Yeah.
There we go. I mean, look, I get it. 5.1 or whatever the fuck he is. I wouldn't even know his price because it never tempted me for a second. You don't even know if he's going to play at the moment or not play. Get shot, honestly. Don't shoot him. I hope he gets the winner tomorrow night. But he's fucking bang average.
Fair play. FPL Addict, our West Ham correspondent, who's also confirmed for FPL Live.
He will be coming, yeah.
Chris has, so it'll be nice to see him there. Looking at a few teams with their last home fixture this game week, and arguably better fixtures this game week, even a West Ham defender as a free transfer, possibly Balbuena. What are your thoughts overall?
A West Ham defender? Nah.
Against Southampton? No. You think Southampton will score this week?
No, I think Southampton will beat you.
Yeah,
it's just so West Ham, mate.
True.
So West Ham.
I'm great. I'm not grateful that I'm not going to the game. I would rather be at the game, but I'm going to be in damn so I'm missing it. So there we go.
No, I think Wolves maybe, Palace maybe. Oh, they're not home this weekend, is it? It's the week after. No, the West Ham defender is not. I can't even believe he's saying that. He's the fucking correspondent. He knows what he's talking about.
There was a tweet that West Ham put out, or it was a West Ham account earlier today. 4 million we paid for Balbuena. Not bad bit of business.
That's great business, mate.
Yeah, for sure. Matthew Bland.
How much you paying Jack Wilshere in wages?
The Matthew Bland. Fuck knows, mate. But there was a point where Perez came on, and then I thought, Wilshere come on. And 2 ex-Arsenal players, Wilshere feeding Perez, would have been the ultimate fucking insult at Spurs.
To be honest, I was hoping Wilshere was going to come on, but I didn't get my wish.
No. Anyway, Matthew Bland, at the Matthew Bland on Twitter, says, biggest FPL disappointment of the season.
Oh, what, just generally?
Yeah, maybe a player.
I mean, United as a whole would have to be a massive disappointment. You think of people like De Gea, Sanchez. Fucking hell. Yeah, I mean, United springs to mind.
Manchester United. They're defensively, definitely, because obviously they kept so many clean sheets on the Marino last year.
So many would have just blindly just kept the faith. I mean, we talk about, things change season on season. Everybody last year, so many people would have started with De Gea and gone, forget him, set and forget. 6 million for a keeper who's going to provide that sort of points. Yeah. Landscape will change again next season. And,
the drop-off of Sanchez from being one of the best assets in the game to just a nobody now has also been a real disappointment. And that happened at the end of his Arsenal career as well. But for me, you know what? One player that I had in my starting lineup at the start of the season was Pascal Gross. Had a great season last year. Done fuck all this year. So he's a disappointment.
Injuries and stuff. I mean, Brighton. Fuck, Yeah.
FPL Dominus, at FPL Dominus on Twitter. Couple of questions here. 2 that we've just answered, so I'll just reiterate the answers. What price do you think Robertson will be next season? James thinks as high as 8. I'm going 7, because Alonso was 7 this year, and he was the only 7
Robertson will be at least 7.5 next season.
Ooh, interesting.
You are talking about the highest scoring defender ever. I think there's every chance he'll be 8 million.
Interesting. And what do you think? Do you think Salah will be switched to a forward next season? We probably do, right?
Yeah,
highly likely.
What did Salah start at? 13
this season.
I think it'd be a 12.5 forward.
12.5 forward. That's what Harry Kane started at this year. 12.5 forward. Yeah. Right? Exactly. And if you could sum up your FPL season in one word, what would it be?
Average.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same. Average. I think week in, week out, I've been there or thereabouts on the bloody average.
so many mistakes made along the way, but then some good bits as well, right? You know, nobody is going to go through the season, even whoever wins the whole goddamn thing, is not going to look back and go, I never made one mistake all fucking season. So you're always going to have regrets, I think. Yeah, average, particularly considering where I was sort of 10 game weeks ago. Frustrating.
Yeah. Quite a few questions here on Manchester United. We're not going to touch on them, but what do you do with Manchester United versus Huddersfield? Own one is a start. Pogba is the safe bet.
It's all right to go. What I would say is, although I'd said like you can't get away from them fixtures, it's not like the case of Liverpool last week.
No, for sure.
Like you can go without. I'm not saying they're a must.
But if you can, then you should. Fancy you at WizOnce99 on Twitter says, are you going to be doing podcasts during the pre-season where you can discuss some friendly matches as well as new transfers? Well,
don't give anything away.
I'm not going to give anything away.
But the answer is definitely yes.
Like we can't. I can't get away from a week without spending an hour and a half in James's company talking shit about football. So, yes is the answer. We take this shit way too seriously for our own health and for our own goods.
What I can say at the moment is there's a lot of background stuff I can't really go into at the moment, but we will be recording through the summer. We might be recording quite a lot during the summer to be confirmed, but the longest break we'll have, we won't break more than 2 weeks at the most. I don't think
so either. It'll be interesting. You'll need, if you guys get to Champions League final, you'll need 2 weeks to get over your hangover.
Yeah. So no, even if it's, I mean, like we'll record during the Nations League and that. Even if it's the case we're not talking about FPL and we're going to talk about England and stuff, we'll do that. We've
got the League of Nations or whatever it's called now, Nations League.
John, I'm not going to say anything more because I know I'm going to start saying things that I shouldn't. But yes is the answer.
Yes, indeed. I think we'll be working harder in the pre-season. Right.
We might be.
Leicester are going to be going. This is coming in from Haas at Foss_14. Leicester are going to be in for a striker next season with Okazaki out and Iheanacho not challenging. It's a bit of a puzzle. Really need real quality, but they would always be second to the main man Vards. Which current Premier League forwards do you think would be a good fit? Ooh. I got one for them.
Go on.
Andy Carroll. I got another one from them.
Llorente.
Lucas Perez.
Vincent Janssen.
Yeah, come and buy these guys, mate, because they're fucking available.
Ooh, who would be available? See, the thing is, you think about people like Wilson.
Yeah.
Would Rodgers play him with Vardy, for example? B, we kind of spoke in January, didn't we? There was a lot of Chelsea links. And I said my opinion was he probably wasn't good enough to go there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it I mean, look, obviously going from Bournemouth to Leicester, you're going to a bigger club. I don't know if it fucking cost a lot. I mean, if they were to buy Wilson, you're talking when Chelsea was sort of starting from 50 million, they was mentioning in the window, maybe. You're trying to think of people that would be available.
I don't know if he'd moved from Bournemouth to...
What about Mitrovic? He'd be available, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and he played well. Babel's a bit old. I don't know how many teams are going to want to go in on a 32, 33-year-old.
There's no one at Cardiff or Huddersfield you'd fancy. But Mitrovic would be an alternative.
Grant hasn't been too bad, Colin Grant, but he's only just moved there from Charlton.
He needs to play in the Championship. He'd go to Leicester and he'll hardly play, mate.
Yeah, that's true.
Mitrovic, if it's got to be someone who's currently a Premier League player, I mean, they can't get near the Zahars and stuff, can they? So
no.
Yeah, I guess, and the others down there. I mean, Danny Ings wouldn't be an upgrade. You wouldn't look at anything from Brighton and that.
Maybe Daniel Sturridge, if he's not getting...
Chris Wood was there before.
Yeah, Daniel Sturridge maybe, if he's not getting
That's
game
a decent
time.
shout.
Potentially.
And and there's the Rodgers link, obviously.
True, yeah.
Possibly Origi as well, you could get a turn out of. Yeah, I suppose there's a few.
Yeah, there you go. That is that. There are a few more questions, but a lot around Manchester United assets, etc., etc. So we're going to leave those for now.
Cool.
And I need to go home and get some rest. As much as I'm still fighting fit, one more night's decent sleep, and I'll be back ready and rocking and rolling.
I enjoyed that. That felt like a lively one.
It was a nice show. Really good. Yeah.
Feedback of that was.
So that's it for episode 60 of the second season. We're done. We'll be back with you next week, Tuesday, after game week 37. You might see odds and sods over Twitter in the next few days. I'm away for the weekend. I'm going to be in Amsterdam. So can you do me a favour? Tweet at Sujan Shah if you're in Amsterdam. If you're an FPL person in Amsterdam, I may plot up in a pub or bar. Adam35 Who tweeted this beer and chicken place. He sent it to you as well. That I might go to on Friday and just say at 5 o'clock, anyone that's going to have a beer, I'm just going to be sitting there doing nothing else. You can tell me
what's good and what's shit.
I'll send you a list. Don't worry about that.
Nice.
Yeah, so I wouldn't mind, even if there's like 2 people turn up for a pint, it'd be a good laugh for an hour or so. Be watching some some Premier League games. I was going to say some FPL games, but some just normal PL games over the weekend as well. So it will be interesting. We'll be back next Tuesday before you fly out for the Champions League semi-final.
Fuck ton of it's 7 live games this weekend.
Oh, lively.
Yeah.
We'll like that. Enjoy the week. Enjoy your transfers. Don't stress now. There's only 2 game weeks to go. And ciao for now.
Cue music, man. Ciao. Good luck, everyone.
The Fantasy Football Show.